You know that feeling, right? That constant, nagging sense that you're just buried. Your to-do list is a mile long, notifications are always popping off, and you're just running and running but not getting anywhere. It's what some people call our interruption-based culture, where we've somehow started confusing activity with achievement. But what if that's all just a big misunderstanding? Well, today we're going to tear down that whole idea of business and build something much, much better in its place.
So, let me just ask you this, straight up. Are you busy? Or are you actually productive? And yeah, there is a massive difference. See, being busy just means your calendar is packed. But being productive, that means you're making real, tangible progress on the things that are truly important to you. They are not the same thing, not even close. And mistaking one for the other is probably the single biggest trap in our modern lives.
You know, we tell ourselves a story about busyness. We think it makes us feel important, committed, like we're in demand. But if we're being brutally honest, and as writer Dion Liu points out, it's often just a mask. Forgetting a friend's birthday because you were just so swamped? Well, that just comes across as thoughtless. Constantly showing up late? That's selfish. It's a bit of a harsh way to look at it, for sure, but it really forces us to confront what our busyness is actually producing. So, here's our game plan to get from that chaos to real control. First, we'll dive into what I'm calling the cult of busyness. Then, we'll explore the pursuit of less. After that, we'll learn how to separate what's urgent from what's truly important, build up our own focus toolkit, and finally, pull it all together to create a life by design. Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1. We've got to really understand the problem before we can fix it. So let's talk about the cult of busyness and this hoax of constant activity that so many of us have bought into. I mean, this quote from Dion Liu just nails it, doesn't it? We've literally built an altar to busyness. We treat it like this badge of honor, this proof that we're worthy and valuable. But like she says, it's mostly a hoax. It's a trap we set for ourselves, and it's the very thing that stops us from doing our most important work. And a lot of the time, this busyness is just a convenient shield. It hides the things we don't really want to deal with. Are you struggling to let go and delegate? Is it hard to make the tough calls on what to prioritize? Or maybe, just maybe, being busy is a fantastic way to distract yourself from the deep, quiet, and sometimes difficult thinking that really moves the needle.
So if being busy is the disease, then the cure is the pursuit of less. And this is where we get to unpack two incredibly powerful ideas, essentialism and deep work.
Just look at this diagram. It tells the whole story. On the left, you've got the non-essentialist. All their energy is scattered, making a tiny bit of progress in a million different directions. But on the right, the essentialist. They're making huge strides, real progress on the very few things that truly matter. And here's the kicker. It's the exact same amount of energy. The difference isn't about working harder, it's about focusing smarter.
And that focused approach on the right, it has a name. Essentialism. Greg McKeown, who wrote the book on it, defines it as this disciplined way of figuring out where you can make your absolute highest contribution. And then you build a system to make doing those things almost effortless. It's not about doing more, it's about doing less, but better. And the way you practice essentialism is often through what Cal Newport calls deep work. Honestly, this is the superpower of our time. It's that ability to just completely focus without any distractions on a single tough task. This is where you create insane value. Answering emails, bouncing between meetings, that's shallow work. It keeps you busy. Deep work, that's what makes you brilliant. Okay, so how do you figure out what's essential in the first place? Well, you start by learning to tell the difference between what's urgent and what's important. And we're going to use a super simple but incredibly powerful tool for that. The Eisenhower matrix. This thing is just beautiful in its simplicity. Every single task on your plate can fit into one of these 4 boxes. If it's urgent and important, like a crisis, you do it now. But here's the key. If it's important but not urgent, think long-term planning, learning a new skill, exercise, you decide when to do it. You put it on your calendar. This box is where real growth happens. If it's urgent but not important, like most emails and interruptions, you delegate it. And if it's neither urgent nor important, you delete it. Gone. So why do we even need a matrix for something that sounds so logical?
Well, it's because our brains have this funny little glitch called the mere urgency effect. We get a tiny little dopamine hit from checking off an urgent task, even if it's totally meaningless. So we naturally gravitate towards putting out small fires instead of building the fire station. This matrix is the perfect antidote to that impulse.
And that's why this quote from Greg McKeown is so critical. Because if you don't consciously and deliberately prioritize your own life, the world will happily do it for you. Your agenda will become a reflection of everyone else's priorities, and you'll just be left feeling busy, but never fulfilled.
So, prioritizing your life takes more than just a framework. It takes real tools you can use every single day. So let's move on and build out your focus toolkit.
All right, probably the most powerful tool you have is learning how to say a graceful no. And this isn't about being mean, it's about being clear. Always remember that for everything you say yes to, you're saying no to something else. A clear no is actually much kinder than a flaky, non-committal yes. And hey, if you're ever on the spot, just use this magic phrase. Let me check my calendar and get back to you. It gives you the space to decide without pressure. So what does it take? What's the magic number for deep work? Just this, 60 to 90 minutes. That's it. One solid, uninterrupted block of focus a day can create more real value than an entire 8-hour day of distracted, shallow work. You have to protect that time on your calendar like it's the most important meeting of your day. Because it is. And here are a few dead simple habits to support that goal. The night before, decide on your 1 or 2 absolute must-do tasks for the next day. Turn off all notifications on your phone and computer. I mean, all of them. Prioritize your sleep. It is the bedrock of focus. And when your brain feels foggy, don't just power through. Go for a short walk. You'd be amazed what a little movement and fresh air can do.
And really, it all boils down to this distinction, doesn't it? Are you just interested in being more focused, or are you truly committed? See, interest is passive. You do it when you feel like it. But commitment is active. It means you build the systems, you show up even when it's hard, and you accept no excuses. You just get results.
And that brings us to our final section. What's the payoff? What happens when you actually make this shift? Well, this is what it means to live a life by design. And it's all about enjoying the rewards of living essentially.
The payoff is huge, and it goes way beyond just your to-do list. You get more clarity because you've actually done the work to figure out what matters. You get more control because you stop being a pinball bouncing off of everyone else's agendas. And maybe the best part, you find more joy. By focusing on the essential, you get to be more present, to actually live in the moment instead of just rushing to the next thing.
And so we come back to this. This is the choice, right here. You can live a life by default, just reacting to whatever comes your way, scattering your precious time and energy. Or you can live a life by design, deliberately choosing where to point that energy to make the unique impact that only you can make. So I'll just leave you with this one last thought from Greg McKeown. What do you really want your contribution to be? What's truly essential to you? Because at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure none of us want our legacy to be a clean inbox. You want it to be a record of a life well lived and work well done. The choice, as always, is yours.